Hello everyone, welcome back to the brand new tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to learn how to edit smooth short videos for your personal brand. Have a quick look on the reel that I am going to recreate right now in After Effects.
Learning isn't about watching tutorials. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't stop.
In this tutorial, I am going to explain the concept of masking, keyframing, and also speed graph for the smooth animations. So as we are in After Effects, let's start by creating a new composition. I am going to rename it like animation 1, then changing its social media preset to 1080 by 1920 and its duration to 10 seconds. Then press OK. We are going to create this animation. Learning isn't about and then second animation. In the first animation you can see the word learning coming from downside and moving in center of screen. So we are going to create this first scene. Learning isn't about. As you can see, text is animating and then moving to the center of screen. To create this scene, firstly we need a solid background and then a dotted background for the video. So I am going to create the background. After that we will create the rest of the animation. To create this, right click in timeline and then pick a solid. I am going to rename it like background layer and changing its color to black. Then press OK. Again right click and pick a solid. I am going to rename it like grid 1 and then press OK. Now select the grid layer and go to effects panel. Search for grid effect. Apply it to the shape layer and then change its size from corner to width slider. And then change its border size to 28. Then click on the invert grid and change its color to gray black like that. To create this same scene, as you can see, the background is masked out. Now I am going to mask out the background like that and then changing its feather to create the same scene like that. So right click on the grid layer and then pre-compose it. I am going to rename it like grid and then move all attribute to the new composition. Click on that icon and then press OK and pick the ellipse tool. Then by holding shift, draw a circle like that. Then open the grid properties, press V for the selection tool and then click on the mask path. Then change the mask path position to the center by holding shift. Now press F for the feather and increase its feather to 200. Then press T for the opacity and decrease its opacity to 60%. As you can see here and you can see here, both effects are same. Now it's time for the text animation. As you can see, the text is moving from the bottom to center of the screen and then moving to the top side. Also you can see the animation on the second and then moving to the next animation like that. So we are going to create the first animation on the text learning. For the text animation, I am going to use the font Yatra 1. Font is available in the description. You can download it from there. Now pick up the text tool and then type learning. Change its font to Yatra and then change its font scale to 160 and also align it at the center like that. To see where the animation starts, I need my audio files. Now I am going to import them inside After Effects. Import the audio file in the timeline and decrease its scale. As you can see here, the text has two different colors, orange on the left side and yellow on the right side. To create the same text effect, click on the text layer and then go to Effects panel. Search for Gradient Ramp Effect. Apply it to the text layer and then change the colors midpoint to the right and then to the left side like that. Pick up the color pencil and then pick the color from the text. Orange for the left side and then yellow for the right side. Then fit it back to the screen. Again search for CC light effect and apply it to the text layer. Then change its x-axis anchor point and also change its width to 80 points and increase its thickness few points. Change its sharpness to smooth and also change its edge intensity to 35. Change its rotation to -45. As you can see here and you can see here. After that, apply the glow effect to the shape layer. Again search for glow effect in effects panel. Apply it to the text layer and then change its exposure to 0.1%. As you can see here and you can see here. Now turn off the background layer and then move it to the bottom side. As you can see in the reference, text is moving from the bottom to the top side and also it's moving from left to right.
Learning isn't about
So the text has animation moving from left to right side. As you can see on the below text. Text is moving from the left to right side. To create the same animation, we need to mask out the text. Firstly, lock the below layers by pressing the lock icon and then select the text layer. Now pick up the rectangle tool and mask out the text layer like that. Click on the mask and then pick up the selection tool and then select the right corners of the mask like that. As you can see, the left both corners are unselected and the right both corners are selected. Open the mask properties and keyframe the mask path. Then go to the start of the animation and move the mask path to the start like that. Now you can see text is moving from left to right as you can see here. Now press F for the feather and increase its feather to 150. Click on the text layer and then enable the blur effect from there. Now you can see when text is appearing, it has a nice little blur effect. To increase the blurriness, go to the composition settings and then go to advanced option. Then change its shutter angle to 400 and then press OK. Now you can see the difference by turning off the blurriness layer. As you can see, just the word L is appearing and when I enable the text effect, next word is also showing as you can see here like that. Now moving to our second text animation, as you can see here, isn't about and then the text is moving to the outside of screen. To create the same animation, again duplicate the text layer and then move its position below by pressing P. Then delete the gradient ramp effect and also CC light effect. Change its text to isn't about. Select the text and then change its font to Gilroy semi-bold italic. I will provide the fonts in the description. You can download the fonts from the description and use for your learning. Then decreasing its scale and changing its position at the center.
isn't about
Then decrease their character distance from there and also increase its scale to 125. Now we have the same animation as you can see here. Listen to the audio in the background and then adjust the text speed according to that. On the 15th frame, it's saying isn't about. Moving it forward, isn't about. On that position, I am going to cut out the above layers. Select the layers and press Ctrl Shift D and then delete the layers. To create the text coming from the bottom and then moving to the top side, we need to apply the camera effect. Now right click in the timeline and then select a camera. Then press OK. Then again right click and pick a null object. Make it 3D and link the camera to the null object. Then select the below layers and make them 3D as well. Also adjust the text position at the center of screen. To create the same effect, click on the null object and then click on the position Then listen to the audio. On that point, the word learning is completed. Keyframe on the position property and also on the scale. Then go to the start of the animation and change its scale to 75. Also change its position outside the screen like that. As you can see here. Go to the second keyframe and then zoom into the timeline. Move few frames forward and then keyframe its position property and also scale properties. Then go to the end of the animation where text goes outside the screen, keyframe its position and scale values again. Move its position to the top side few points and also change its scale to 90. Now select the below layers and press T for the opacity. Keyframe its opacity at the end and then keyframe it again. Go to the end and then decrease its opacity to 0. Now select the keyframes and press F9 for the easy ease animation. Click on the null object and press U to see the all keyframes. Then select all keyframes and press F9 for easy ease animation. Then go to graph editor and select the keyframes like that. Move the initial position like that and then select it and move the second keyframe to the end of the animation. Now you can see the animation coming inside the screen. Then holding and then moving to the top side. As you can see here.
Learning isn't about watching tutorials.
When the text is on the top side, our second animation is going to start. When text is moving upside, the second animation starts from bottom side. Pick up the rounded rectangle tool and then draw a rectangle like that. Align it at the center. Then go to Effects panel and search for 4 color gradient. Apply it to shape layer. Change the colors to the black and red. The shape has 2 black colors and 2 red colors on the corners. Now change the corner positions like that. Now open the rectangle properties and change its roundness to 100. As you can see here, the shape has a nice white glow effect on its corners. To create this effect, go to Effects panel and search for CC Light effect. Apply it to shape layer. Now change the CC Light values. Increase its width to 1000. Decrease its intensity to 5. And then change its intensity to 80. Also decrease its thickness to 2 points. And change its rotation to 45 degrees. As you can see here and also you can see here. Both has the same effect. Now to create the text animation. Simply duplicate the text layer. That animation we have created for the scene 1. Duplicate it and move it to the top side. Press T for the opacity values and delete the opacity keyframes. Also delete the gradient ramp effect and CC light effect. Change its text to watching. Change its font to the Great Vibes. Then duplicate the text layer and move its position below. Also change the text to tutorials. Adjust its position. Decrease the text glow radius to 100. And also for the second layer, decrease its radius to 100. In the background you can see a blur circle is appearing and scaling. Pick up the ellipse tool and then by holding shift draw a circle. Align it at the center. Move back to the shape layer. Change its color to darker red. And also decrease its opacity to 70. Go to Effects panel and search for Gaussian blur effect. Apply it to the layer and then increase its blurriness to 180. Go to the first point where animation starts. Select the both shape layers and by pressing Alt and left square bracket from keyboard, cut out the shape layer from left side. Press S for the scale and zoom into timeline. Then keyframe its scale position, go to the start and keyframe it again and move the scale to 0. Now play the video and then adjust the scene animation. Move the second keyframe to the 2-second time frame and then increase its scale to 120. Then move few frames forward and then increase its scale to 150. Press T for opacity, keyframe its opacity value and then move back to the 2-second. Keyframe it again. Then go to the last keyframe and decrease its opacity to 0. Now go to the start of animation and then keyframe the Gaussian blur value. Press U to see the keyframe. Go to the end of the animation and then keyframe it again. Go to first point and then change its Gaussian blur to 70 and change its Gaussian blur to 250. Now select all keyframes and press F9 for easy ease animation. Now you can see the background circle is scaling, Gaussian blur is increasing and then its opacity goes back to 0. Also you can see the shape and text is moving from the bottom to the center of screen. As you can see here, the shape and the text is moving from the bottom to the center of screen and scaling down. Then the third animation starts. To create this animation, right click in timeline and then pick up a null object. Select the above layers and link them to the null object. Also enable the blur effect. Press P for the position, keyframe its position, go 15 to 20 frames forward and keyframe it again. Press S for the scale, keyframe it and go to the start. Now increase its scale to 120 and also change its position to the bottom side like that. Select below all layers, press T for opacity and keyframe its opacity value and decrease its opacity to 0. Then select all keyframes and press F9 for easy ease animation. Now adjust the animation speed. When the first text going outside the screen, second animation needs to be start from bottom. Adjust the second text animation point where the second text starts. Watch tutorials. Now it's time for the third animation. As you can see, a circle is popping up and then covering the entire screen. To create the same effect, pick up the ellipse tool and draw a circle by holding shift. Then change its color to white and decrease its scale few points. Also change its midpoint by holding Ctrl to the center. Cut out the shape layer from left side by pressing Alt and square bracket. Press V for the selection tool, then select the below circle layer and press U to see the keyframes. Now select the shape layer and enable the blur effect. Press P for the position and keyframe its position value. Then move the keyframe forward and then keyframe the start position again and move the circle outside the screen. Then select both keyframes and go to graph editor. Adjust the speed from the graph editor. Moving fast to the screen at the center. Press S for the scale, keyframe its scale value and cover the entire screen by scaling it up like that. Go to effects panel and search for deep glow effect. Apply it to the circle layer and then change the deep glow exposure to 0.5%. Select both keyframes and press F9 for easy ease animation. Now you can see circle is moving from the top to the center of screen and then covering the entire screen. As you can see here, circle is moving from the top side to the center and then covering the entire screen. Press U to see the all keyframes and then adjust the keyframe speed like that. Move to the point where the second animation ends. Select the all layers and by pressing Alt and right square bracket cut out the layers. Select the camera and null object layer and also cut it from the right side. As you can see in the scene 3, a Joker image is coming from the left side to the center of screen. To create this scene, import the Joker image in timeline. Then change its position to the left side like that. As you can see here, adjust it according to that. Right click, go to layer style and apply the drop shadow. Open the drop shadow properties and decrease its opacity to 50%. Change its angle and also its size, and change its rotation to the left side. As you can see, a drop shadow at the background on there, and also you can see it here. Increase its opacity to 60 and we are done with the drop shadow like that. Press P for the position, keyframe its position value and move it to the left side outside the screen, and then enable the blur effect. Then press U to see the keyframes. Press F9 for the easy ease animation. Adjust the animation speed by moving the keyframe forward like that. Select both keyframes, go to graph editor and then smooth up their animation using graph editor like that. Now you can see, move the second keyframe a little outside the screen, and then we are done with the scene 1. As you can see here and as you can see it here. Now it's time for the text animation, becoming the kind of person. As you can see, Joker image coming inside and then scaling back. Pick up the text tool and type your text. Becoming the. Select all the text and then change its font. Decrease its scale like that and then change its color to blue. Duplicate the text layer again and move it below. Change its text to kind of person and then changing its color to black. Also changing its font to Gilroy Light. As you can see, the words are close. You can adjust the words from there and then decrease its scale to 100. Align it at the center and also about text at the center like that. Also in the text background, you can see a shape is coming from the top side and moving to the left side. Shape is coming from the top side and then moving to the bottom side like that. To create the same shape, pick up the pen tool and draw a shape like that. Turn off its fill color, increase its stroke. Go to Effects panel and search for Gradient Ramp. Apply it to the shape layer. The shape has two blue colors, a blue shade on the top and also a blue on the bottom side. Change the gradient ramp midpoints like that and then change the gradient colors. One blue on the top and also a light shade on the bottom side. Cut out the shape from the left side, then select all layers and enable the blur effect. Open the shape layer properties and apply the trim path effect. Open the trim path properties, keyframe its end position. Move forwards until the Joker comes inside the screen and then keyframe it again. Go to the first keyframe and move it back to 0. Then select both keyframes and press F9 for easy ease animation. Now you can see shape is coming and moving downsides. Now adjust the keyframe speed, moving to the forward like that. Move the shape layer to the bottom side. Select the text layer, go to Effects panel and search for CC Light effect. Apply it to the shape layer and then change the CC Light properties. Change its values, change its angle, increase its width. Now it's time for the text animation. The text is animating from right to left. Animating from right to left Open the text properties, go to animate and apply the position parameter. Apply the opacity parameter. Change the position y-axis to 400 and then decrease its opacity to 0. Open the range selector properties, change its start position to 100 and end position to 0. Now keyframe the offset position, move few frames forward and then move it back to 100. Select both keyframes and press F9 for easy ease animation. Now you can see text is coming from left to right like that. And you can see here the text is coming from left to right. Adjust the keyframe speed by moving them forward like that. Select the animation parameters. Copy them and then paste the same effect to the above layer. Now you can see both layers have a text animation. Move the above text few frames forward and then see the animation. Becoming the kind of person. Becoming the kind of person. You can see a circle at the back side of Joker. To create this, pick up the ellipse tool and then create a circle. Adjust its position to the back side, then turn off the stroke and change its fill color to blue and move it to the back side of Joker. Adjust its position and then enable the blur effect. Cut out the layer from the left side and then link the shape layer with the Joker layer. You can see both circle and Joker are coming left to right. The shape layer has a nice fade out effect on the bottom side. To create this, click on the shape layer and then right click and pre-compose the shape layer. Then pick up the rounded rectangle tool and mask out the shape layer like that. Press F for the feather and increase its feather to 150. Now you can see the shape is fading out on the bottom side, as you can see here. Like that. One last animation from the scene. Joker coming outside the screen and then moving backwards with a nice camera blur effect. To create this, right click in timeline and pick a null object. Then link the Joker layer with the null object. Again right click and choose an adjustment layer. Then select the adjustment layer, go to effects panel and search for camera lens blur. Apply the camera blur to adjustment layer, keyframe the blur radius and move it back to 0. Then press U to see the keyframe, move few frames forward and then keyframe it again. Then move few frames forward and then keyframe it again. Go to the second keyframe and increase it to 20. Copy the keyframe, move few frames forward and paste it. Now select the null object layer and press S for the scale. Keyframe its first position and then move few frames forward. Keyframe it again and decrease its scale to 65%. Press P for the position, keyframe the position value, press U to see the all keyframes, move to the start of the position, keyframe it again. Go to the second keyframe and move its position to the top side. Then select all the keyframes and press F9. Select above keyframes and press F9 for easy ease animation. Now you can see here. And also change the text to who doesn't stop. Duplicate the below text layer, move it to the top side, click on the below text layers and cut them from the right side. Select the above text and change it to who doesn't stop. Text is coming too fast. Zoom into the timeline and move the text layer few frames forward. Press U and then adjust the animation speed. It's coming slow. Let's move it back. Now move to the start and let's see what we have created. Adjust your animation according to the audio of the scene. Like that. Cut out the text from the left side and move the above animation to the back side. So this is for today's tutorial. I hope you have enjoyed the tutorial and learned something new. There is a project file in the description. You can download it directly and use it for your learning. Please let me know in the comments what you want to see next on my channel, and also make sure to subscribe the channel as well. Now let's have a look on the final results here.